Hello and welcome to the In the Money Players podcast. This is our show for the Saturday of Labor Day weekend, August 30th this year, 2025. Peter Thomas Fornitz back with you in the little house on the east side. For those who've been inquiring, who've watched some of our other videos lately, I found the cricket and he has been eliminated. So you will not have that chirping anytime I'm too quiet. Thanks to JK for the tip on where to look. Hint, right next to me. He's like, it's so loud. He's got to be right next to you. Yes, he was. Okay, he's outside now. He's been returned to the wild. PDF here, joined today by a man who's been all over these shows lately, but we haven't been together in a minute on any of our free content anyway. He's Mikee P, Mike Probosi. How's your summer going, brother?
It's great. I want to know, did you employ a lizard to get rid of this cricket? Or I don't understand. Like, what do you do? How do you eliminate such things?
I was the lizard. I hunted him up and I smoked him out of his hole and I liberated him. So he's no longer going to be a problem. One of his friends will probably be back soon, such is the nature of life here in the foothills of the Adirondacks, but hopefully it'll be okay. We kick off the show today. We got loads of content. We're going to do the thing where we split it into two shows because we have too much. And I feel like it's just intimidating. For me, I like to listen to pods, 45-minute, 60-minute chunks. Once it gets to 90 minutes, it's intimidating. So we're going to do one where we lead. The other one is going to lead off with Del Mar. Don't be like, hey, why aren't you covering the Pacific Classic? Of course, we'll be doing that. That'll be on another show. We got Dean Kepler lined up to join for that one. That's going to be exciting. On this show, we're going to talk about Saratoga, and we're going to talk about Kentucky Downs. But we'll kick off, Mikey, tasking you with help for Saratoga. As usual, end of the meet, these cards are double stuffed, as it were. There's a lot of action. So we're going to focus on, I guess it's the middle pick five, or a middle pick five. There might be four on this card, to be honest with you. But we're going to start with race number 7, the grade 3 Prioress. We saw a big overlay in the pick 5 in this approximate part of the card last weekend on another show. I gave you credit for saving the bacon on that one in terms of reminding me that Sovereignty was the 4 and not the 5. I don't know that we're going to swing at this, but let's talk it through and see if we can come up with some stuff. I want to remind folks that this segment brought to you by our friends at Adelphi Racing. We record this on Friday. It's actually Adelphi Day at the races over at Saratoga. The T-shirt will be disappearing in favor of some pleasant clothes because we're going to be over there with the nice folks from Adelphi. I've been in this game a long time, and I've had some of the best memories through my partnership with Adelphi these past few seasons. If you're interested in horse ownership, this is a phenomenal place for a point of entry. AdelphiRacing.com. If you have any questions, you can reach out directly to Matt Kater over there from the Adelphi website, or ask me questions because I'm a zealot at this point for cause Adelphi. And if you want to learn more from me, inthemoneypodcast.com, the contact page goes straight to my email. Let's start off with this Prioress, Mikey. I'm a believer in number 3, Delightful Claire. Early returns on that form are positive, and that was a fast race. Maybe she gets into a duel with Long Neck Paula, and that could set up a late run from number 1, Flat Out Time. I did want some ones on my ticket if it's a pace makes the race kind of thing, but how did you see it? Are you with or against these two at the top of the market, Delightful Claire and Long Neck Paula?
I think I'd be with Delightful Claire just because she was quick early, quick late. And you look at those pace figures, she's really fast. And that was a massive improvement there from start 1 to start 2. I like the fact that she really moved up over this racetrack. So I think there's more to come for that one. The one you didn't mention that I'm interested in is the 2 Rojo Rita. If you looked, faced Maytown last time, well, that one's a streaking one on the grass right now at Churchill, at Ellis. Safi comes in here. This one broke the maiden at Gulfstream, won by 16 lengths. You don't see that very often for a first-timer. Straight into stakes, and she sort of struggled, but I think the dirt is fine. I like the class lines. I do think she could be a little hidden in this race. So while the 3 is going to take a lot of money, I think that maybe the 2 could sneak in, especially with a little bit of a trip.
All right, I think you make a really compelling case on that one, especially for verticals, but maybe for horizontals like this pick 5 as well. Race number 8, This one we'll also be talking about. Haven't recorded it quite yet, but this week's Baby Talk is going to cover racing from Saratoga and Kentucky Downs. That's audio only. So if you subscribe to the In the Money Players podcast, you'll be able to get that one. Hopefully we'll have some winners for you there as well, including in this 7 furlong 2-year-old maiden special weight race. Remember, you can get some market signal here looking at the doubles starting with race number 7. You can see on the back half of the double in those probable pay screens, some horses that might be taking action. To me, the 6 Dragones looked very obvious, sharp works, and a massive pedigree on this one. $1.7 million being by Gunrunner out of Lady Godiva, who is has some blood there, being an unbridled song dam. Steve Asmussen, obviously no stranger to first out success. The 6 French Quarter Note, I had some stuff on. 2 of the 4 siblings won on debut. City of Light and George Weaver both have good stats first out. And one other dimension was the 10 Grittiness, who I thought was exiting a live-looking race and maybe got buried down inside last time on a day when ground loss was no help at all. With this pedigree, might need even farther than this. So this is one I might keep on the radar with any kind of representative effort today. But the numbers I was mainly going to be looking at for this pick 5 were 6, 9, and 10. What do you want to bring to the party?
I agree on the 10. I think that one would be an A for me. I do think it's Pletcher's second time. You get the stretch out here. These 7 furlong type maiden races here at Saratoga, they're bringing out these pedigrees that want to go longer. So, and I do think Pletcher's second up. You had the experience, really, at least, passed a couple horses first time out. Didn't take a lot of money. So I'd be interested in that one. The other horse that has started in the race is the 2 Our Magical Moon. It's Mark Casse. They tried the grass first time out. They wanted to get that distance for that race. This horse didn't race very badly there, especially starting from the inside. Bred for the dirt. They paid $500,000 for this one. So I like Casse second time going to the dirt. He has very good numbers that way. So I do think that one is interesting. There's others you can use in here, though. You mentioned some of I think the 3 could be an interesting price. Relevance. You got Chad Summers first time. He's been very sharp with his horses. He's 27% with first-time starters. He's very good with 2-year-olds. So that horse is 8-1 morning line. I do think the board will tell a story on that one. And I think that one could be used. And then, Brad Cox heating back up again. He has a firster in here, a Practical Joke first-timer. We know how sharp that those horses can be. I think the board will tell a big story here. I'm thinking Machado is going to have a pretty big day here, though, with some of the big boys out of town showing up and riding some of these Cox horses. So I'd be a little spready here. I use the 2 that have started, the 2 and the 10, and then for some prices, the 3 and the 8 for me.
All right. Yeah, good ideas. Definitely a race where at this stage, I feel like you'd have to spread, but I think you make a key point. Check out those doubles. There's some of these runners, especially if they're catching money, you might want to make sure that you have involved in your reckoning of the race in terms of this pick 5 that starts with race number 7 and continues with race number 9 as its hinge, this first level allowance going 5.5 on the turf. Mikey, we'll keep it with you.
So I'll shrink down in this race here. I'm going to be all into the 1, Shoot It, or the 4, Shoot It True. This horse is Wesley Ward, got the grass last time and had a big improvement. Now, if you look back, this horse last year in November popped a 93 buyer at Aqueduct on the dirt. Well, then, has had some sporadic races, but was favored first to the grass there on July the 18th. Raced very well. Now you get Machado here. You get a jockey switch. I do think this horse can sit in a race that is full of speed. So I think the improvement is coming. You know that the horse has some speed and has a number to run back to. So I'd be all in on the 4, Shoot It True here.
I hear you. And this is a big A press for me as well. Best possible speed, probable best speed, shown the ability to pass as well. And I'll tell you what, just you watch the tape of that last race and it just looked maybe like different sauce to some of the others in here. I do want to have a small ticket that will use the 5 La Salvadorena simply because she's been on my watch list for so long. Not that far behind the best of these on figs, but it's one of those, when you have these pet horses that you've been following, it can be very frustrating when you finally get off if they step up and win, and just seemed like the only plausible alternative to me to the 4. So it's not that hard to include for a penny. Mostly 4, a little 5 for me. Mikey going to plant a flag with the 4, Shoot It True. And I admire and have a lot of sympathy for that point of view. We close out this pick 5 with 2 more stakes races, starting with the Grade 2 Flower Bowl. Oh, just one aside that I wanted to make. Folks who maybe newer fans, which we have plenty of, especially on the YouTube side, encourage you to subscribe to that In the Money Media YouTube channel, by the way, so you don't miss any of our YouTube exclusive content. And so you can make comments. We love to interact with people in there. But we know we have a lot of new people from YouTube. Maybe they're like, where are the jockeys I see all the time? Kentucky Downs, there's so much purse money there and such a great card of racing on this Saturday with so many stakes that a lot of the big names are out of town. So do not by any means see Luan Machado and think, oh, this is a negative. This is what happens when you've got such a competitive racing day like this Saturday. We got jocks out in California, jocks in Kentucky Downs. It makes sense. You're going to see some different names. Don't read too much into it. Okay, back to the stakes action in race number 10. It's the Grade 2 Flower Bowl. Mikee P, who's your idea of the winner?
So I'm going to use 2 in here. It's hard to ignore La Manjana's last race, especially that mile and a half. Popped a big figure there. Now, I was over a yielding course here on July the 27th, but really, I thought was a very, very sharp performance here for a horse that I do think wants to go this distance. There's a lot of horses in here that maybe we're not so sure about that. So I think that maybe getting over this course again, having that confidence, 2 straight wins and a big blowout win last time would be a must use. But I'm going to try a price also the 2 Amber Cascade, 10-1 morning line. Now, this one has 1 turf start, right? And for Maker at Ellis, raced on that Kentucky Downs preview day and raced very well to be second. Lost to Simply in Front. Well, that one won on Derby Day, if you remember. So a pretty good piece of form there. This horse has a lot of shares. 7 second place finishes lifetime in 15 starts, but 3 wins. So I like the improvement getting to the turf. Maker stretching horse houses out is a huge angle here. So this one has some back lines at some distances. Raced well at a mile and an eighth. I like the fact that we're getting the grass, we're getting a stake, we're getting a price. So give me the 4, but also use a little 2 here.
I take your points on Amber Cascade. They're very interesting. One that I was sleeping on a little bit. Yeah, La Manjana, obvious top pick for me. Not much to add to the excellent case you made. Just looks like a figure and form potential standout. The 8 Bellezza, I thought made a lot of sense as well coming out of that run in the Glens Falls. No match for La Manjana that day, but maybe the last 2 yielding courses have dulled her a little bit. Maybe getting back onto firmer ground could move her back up. Just seemed like a very logical one for Miguel Clement. And then Be Your Best as a potential speed play in this race. I'm not sure, maybe you'll see some pace from a runner like Long Ago, but Long Ago going to the front, gassing out last time. Maybe they'll be more conservative with that one, and that could give Be Your Best a chance to lead them a long way. So that one was more of a backup for me. The 7, I'm definitely going to find a way to work your 2 into some things. Another one I might work in, just a horse I followed for a long time because I was such a fan of her dam as a racehorse way back in the day. But the 1 Marksman Queen, loved this pedigree out of Sharp Susan, being by Dubawi, comes here off a couple of wins. Looks slow on the numbers, but motion. I never need to have my arm twisted to throw him in. So another one I might put as a backup. 4, 8 for me on the main line, 1 and 7 on the backup line. 4 and 2, a more bold stance from Mikee P. Hard for me. It's hard to use as many backups as I want to use when I like the favorite, but this is just one of those situations where through ticket construction, I'm going to try to work all 4 of them onto tickets. We close out with Grade 1 action in the Spinaway, one of these Labor Day weekend traditional races. Field of 10 here. I've got a full horse-by-horse write-up of this one you can find over at theraces.com, or if you subscribe to our free In the Money Media newsletter, you'll get a link to it in there if you want to sign up for that. And I encourage everybody to do so because it's a great way to support us and really the best way to keep track of everything, because some things are just podcasts, some things are just YouTube. But if you get that email, it'll pull it all together for you. inthemoneypodcast.com/email. Who do you like in this year's Ballerina?
Well, first off, the 2 is going to be a scratch in here. So that's something to note. That we're going to go at Kentucky Downs there over the weekend. So that one will be out. I really liked Tommy Joe, the 8's first race. If you watch that race, was able to settle and then just looked very dominant in there. Had the look of a horse that's going to stretch out. It's Pletcher. I do think that sometimes you get these 7 furlong stakes races, especially for these 2-year-olds, and they can be very speedy and have horses really crash out early. I think that this one is tactical. I think looks one very classy to me. And then this breeding, I think that should be very sharp from off the pace here. And I know she's 2-1 morning line, but I think that she fits very well versus these horses. The second place out of that maiden came back to win. So nice piece of form there. I think that she is a confident top pick for me. But for a price, I'll give you another price again, the 9, Spirit Doll. I just like that maiden win. I realized that was a restricted maiden special weight, was favored in there, but didn't have the best of trips, right? Stumbled at the start, had to be from off the pace, and just grinded through the stretch to win. Now you get 15-1 morning line here for nice connections to the fact that they're going into a grade 1 in here. And I do think another one from off the pace that may get a setup. There's plenty of other speed to look at. I understand the case for Mythical, but I do think that going to get a lot of pressure here, that extra furlong. We'll see when the 8 and the 9 come calling.
Yeah, I was going to try to beat Mythical as well. Once again, we are in lockstep in terms of the top picks. Tommy Joe, that was a very live heat, and she absolutely dominated in there. And that 85 figure just stacks up so well. I also love in a race where, as you point out, there's plenty of speed, showing the ability to pass horses. So should get a good setup. I mean, this one, homebred that was bred to be special, being by Superstar Sire into Mischief out of a grade 1 place, multiple stakes winning dam. Pletcher's won this race 6 times and has a real chance to make it 7, I think, with Tommy Joe. And you know what? For a price, I don't rule out his other horse, Steer Clear, second to Ornelia on debut, but I rate this one higher simply because she was the one cutting out those unsustainably fast early sectionals on Bloodlines. I think added ground will help. Needs to calm down early. If she wants to go on a mission like last time, it ain't going to work out. And this is a huge ask for a maiden. But given the Pletcher stats, given the price that this one's going to be, got to be double digits, I would think. If not double digits, you could have her, honestly. But I thought it was one that could be a huge price, and you could throw a backup line on. And then Percy's Bar was the other one I thought could be a decent price. Undefeated in 2 starts, blitzed them. Figure was slow last time, but the debut run looks like good form. 3 next out winners, including her. And maybe since this one hasn't been out since June 29th, you could bake in a little bit more improvement for age. I'm just including as a contender. I think could be 6 or 8-1 and wouldn't mind having something on. But it's an interesting sequence where we have a lot of the same top picks, which does make me want to at least consider it, Mikey, for maybe one we'll take a swing with the inner circle. But it's hard on these Saturdays because there's just so many interesting places potentially to go.
Yeah, and these are 2-year-olds too, so there can be some chaos that occurs, in these stakes races and some of the maiden races. So if you're right, I do think you're going to get paid here, but we like a lot of the same horses, and I'm not sure that we're going to get huge prices, but we didn't need them last week either to catch.
Yeah, that one worked out okay. And it is interesting. I wasn't sure if that paid such a seeming overlay that all grade 1 pick 5 last week, because computers aren't in that pool. I was speaking to Paul Matisse in the backyard at Saratoga yesterday, who hypothesized that he thinks sometimes it's actually the chalkier combinations these days that the computers aren't laying into as much. They're trying to cover everything around the fringes. And if you can string together some dead chalk, it can pay okay. So, we'll see. It's hard to know. I wish there was more transparency about this stuff. That would help horse players a lot in terms of game selection and where we spend our money. But we'll take a look at it. We'll talk off air. If you are an inner circle person, we will put up, we'll send you some communications about what we're going to do, if anything, this weekend. If you're interested in the inner circle, well, it's closed right now, but it will probably open up again before the Breeders' Cup comes online. We'll be talking a lot more about that. We do have the ability for folks looking for even more content from us to get involved in the Money Plus on an ongoing basis. We're going to have a ton of extra content for Keeneland and the Breeders' Cup, and these last few days, of course, at the summer meets as well. Learn more about everything we offer there. Extra shows, extra write-ups, special content around racing's biggest events in themoneypodcast.com/plus. Don't get the idea that it's some tout thing. I mean, we're always going to give our top opinions on the biggest races right here for free on the YouTube channel and the podcast. It's more, this is to get even more info, and for folks who really want to support all the free content we do, sort of the public radio, public TV model, coupled with more great info. I mean, you interact with a lot of the Plus people. We got a lot of happy people over there, right, Mikey?
Yeah, and it's a lot of we focus on horse players. These are guys that are betting, and we're giving you content from horse players that are breaking down races and just giving you ideas, and maybe that can help contribute to some of your ideas that to help you cash tickets. So we're not going to be perfect, but we these are guys that are actually betting the races on a daily basis, that do a lot of work, extra work that maybe you can't do yourself. Plus, you get the show notes. I mean, there's just so many positive things. Even before I was involved within the money, I was a Plus subscriber.
You were one of our original guys, right?
Yeah. So it was worth it to be involved with that. With everything that I got, I deemed it value. And now that I'm doing it, I'm looking to give more value to everybody that is involved in it. So it's something that I do think is very worthwhile. And you could try it for a month and see what you think. There's just many positives. I think if you try it, I think you'll stick on.
Production meeting in the middle of the show. I've got to decide what's going on, which show here. Tell us who you have in your other segments that you're hosting this weekend, and then we can just decide on the fly if they're going to go on this one or the one that starts with Delmar.
So lots going this weekend. We have a colonial segment there with Will Humphrey. So he's always great. And you can check out his written work on the inthemoneypodcast.com website. I have Double D again from Monmouth. He's always good for some nice winners. And then we have Jordan Miller back from Woodbine. And that segment last week was very productive for you guys. So we're going to bring him back for the Woodbine segment this weekend.
Terrific. And that'll be divided between here and Delmar. We'll figure out what fits where. But right now, if you're watching on the YouTube side, please click on one of our other videos. Make sure you subscribe and let us know your thoughts on this Saratoga card. Where would you plant a flag in this pick 5? Put that down below. Subscribe to the channel while you're there. And then click over to one of our other videos. And if you're listening on the audio side, JK will be here in a second, and we'll be talking about Kentucky Downs.